Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today I've done this look for you. This is a classic black smoky eye. I hope I've made it very easy for you guys to try out if you haven't tried a smoky eye before. If you have difficulties with a smoky eye, I tried to keep it very simple, and hopefully this is something that anyone and everyone could try. I tried to use as few products as possible as well, and I will link the details of all the products that I've used in the description bar below. I've also recently done a summer skincare routine video. If you haven't seen that, I will also link that in the bar below. Make sure you guys check that out. Remember that skincare is super important. It's just as important, if not more important, when you're applying your makeup in order for your makeup to look as good as you want it to. Sometimes you might have all the tips and tricks of how to apply makeup really well, but if your skincare is not up to par, then your makeup is not always going to look as good as you want it to. So make sure you guys check that out and let me know what you think about that. So I'm going to start off with my eyes today because I'm going to be doing a very intense black smoky eye. I don't want there to be too much fallout and I don't want to ruin my base, so I'm going to start off with my eyes. So first thing I'm going to be using is the Makeup Forever Aqua Black gel liner. I'm going to be using that as my base, so I'm just going to take that all over the mobile lid. Don't worry if it's messy. So that's one eye done. I'm doing the same thing on the other side. So that's it for my eyeshadow base. Once I've got that all over the eyes, I'm just going to let it sit for a second till it dries. And then we're going to move on to the eyeshadow. For eyeshadows today, I'm going to be using this Smashbox Double Exposure palette. The shadows. So these are the shadows that you can use wet or dry. I'm going to be using the black from this palette, and then maybe one of, probably this one for the brow bone. I'm going to be taking that on the brush that comes in the palette. Now this palette I've noticed has a lot of fallout. The eyeshadows have a lot of fallout. So you want to take the shadows on one side of your brush only. Just dab it in there on one side, and then you want to tap off the excess. First I'm going to work on the mobile lid, and then we'll work it outwards. Notice I'm just doing light tapping motions on my eyes. I'm not swiping it because I want the black to be quite intense. So I'm doing light dabbing motions just to pack on the color. And I'm not going higher up than my mobile lid. So if I look at you straight on, then you'll notice that it hasn't gone up too high. It definitely hasn't gone up higher than my crease. And you don't want it to go up higher than your crease, otherwise you're gonna look like Panda. And I'm just going to start to lightly buff out the edge of the black eyeshadow just to make it a little bit softer, and you guys can see the difference now. Obviously this is a bit patchy, but we will fix that. But you can see it's starting to soften the edge. Same thing on the other side. Windshield wiper motions and small circular motions. And once you've done that, I'm going to leave my crease alone for just a minute. I'm going to take a clean shader brush. Which one do I want to use? And I'm going to be taking this color right here, and I'm just going to take that on a shader brush, again, dry, not wet, and I'm just going to put this under my brow bone. Now I haven't put on any base from my crease up to my brow bone. You guys saw that. I just honestly just didn't feel like it. So I'm just putting the brow bone color in here under the brow bone. And I'm bringing it down just a little bit towards the crease because we're going to put in a transition color there, which is going to join the two and make it look a lot smoother and neater. So that's my brow bone done. For my crease color, I'm going to be going in with the brown here. This is the espresso shade. I'm taking that on the Sigma E25 brush. And again, you want to make sure that you just put a little bit of product. You can start to place it into the crease. Now the trick with a very intense particularly a black smoky eye or any dark eye that you're going to be doing, is to make sure that you build it up and blend. Those are the two things that you need to make sure that you keep doing. Don't start off with too much product. You're going to end up making a mess, and if you don't blend it, it's just going to look weird. I'm just taking a little bit of the brown eyeshadow a bit at a time and blending it together, and that has softened the black considerably, but you also don't want to lose the intensity of the black eyeshadow, so we will go back and add more black when we are ready, but for now we're just building up the crease color. And just on the very tip of the brush, I'm letting the rest of the bristles on this brush just blend as I'm applying the product. So I'm relatively happy with that. For the next step, I'm going to be using this color right here. This is Film Noir. It's actually a blush shade from MAC, but I'm going to be using this on the eyes today. Now this color, I'm going to be keeping it right in the crease. I'm not going to blow it out too much. Place the brush right into the crease, and right there you just want to wiggle it back and forth. You don't want to go up too much, and you definitely don't want to make circular motions because you're going to end up diffusing the eyeshadow out. And you can see how that's just darkened up and made it a little bit more intense. This guy went on a roller coaster and fainted 6 times. Ridiculous. Okay, so I've added the brown where I wanted to add it. I'm going to go back in with the Juvia's Place blending brush. Again, this has no eyeshadow on it. And I'm just going to start to smoke out the very outer edge of that crease color because I want to soften the whole look. Like I said, this is the trick to having a beautiful smoky eye. You want to make sure that you blend, blend, blend. You can see the difference here. You see how this is all diffused and very soft, and here there's like a harsh line in the crease? You can see that right here. So you want to soften that. As you can see, the brush that I'm using is very soft and fluffy. Basically, the fluffier the brush, the softer the diffused look is going to be. The more dense the brush, you're going to have a more intense color. Now that we've got all of that into place, I'm going to go back in with my Smashbox brush and the black eyeshadow one more time, and again pack on where the black eyeshadow is, just to intensify that color one more time. And same thing on the other side. And then once that's done, one more time, I'm just going to go in with the blending brush just to soften the very outer edge of that black eyeshadow. My advice if you're going to do a really good smoky eye is not to rush it. To make this a beautiful look and not like you got punched in the face, you really do need to have patience and just take the time. So if you want to do this for a night out, make sure you've given yourself enough time to blend. This is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil. This is a gel pencil. This is in the color 0. It's a matte black. So I'm going to first tightline the upper waterline. You can see that there's still some gaps here between my lashes and the actual eyeshadow. You can see a little bit of flesh. Here you can't. So if you want to have a really good smoky eye, you need to make sure that you black out everything. So that's the top of my eyes done. I'm going to move on to the brows now. For brows, I'm going to be using my NYX Micro Brow Pencil. This is in the color black. I'm not going to be going crazy with the brows. I'm just going to lightly fill in where I have a few gaps, so basically towards the arch and then a little bit on the tail. And once you've put the product in, you just brush it with a spoolie on the other end just to soften it. I don't do my brows on a daily basis. I'm very fortunate to have full brows. But if you guys don't have full brows, and if you are trying to grow them back, or you generally just have very sparse or thin brows, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you guys are interested in trying to figure out how to grow them, this stuff right here, this is Jamaican black castor oil, or just any type of castor oil. This stuff works magic. So I just apply that onto my brows. Even though I have full brows, I'm starting to notice that I'm getting gaps in them. As you can see on this one, it's more prevalent. Put a little bit of that onto your brows at night before you go to sleep, even on your lashes, even on your head. It helps for the growth of hair. You guys can see I'm not coming in too close to the front of the brows. I don't like for them to look very overdrawn. I like the front of the brows to look very soft and natural. And then the rest of the brows could be a little bit more intense, but I like for it to be a little bit of a gradient. Tea. Before I move on to the skin, I'm going to take a little bit of makeup remover on a cotton pad and just run it underneath my eyes on my face, because for sure when you're using dark eyeshadows there will be a lot of fallout. Just to clean it up, and you can see I managed to actually get a lot of product off. Moving on to the face, I'm going to start off with the Nivea Men's Aftershave Balm. You know the drill. Rubbing it together in my hands and then lightly just putting it all over my skin. This is going to be my primer. If you guys haven't seen, I just put up my skincare routine video. I'm just putting this Men's Aftershave Balm. This is going to be my primer for today. I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds to sit on the skin and get a little bit tacky. This is what makes the foundation stick really well, and just in general your makeup lasts a lot better when you use this product. I don't know why, but it does. So for the brush for my foundation today, I'm going to be going old school and using my Real Techniques buffing brush. I got this when I went to Beauty World. So I got this recently when I went to Dubai Beauty World, and I've just been loving this makeup fixer spray. It's really, really good. So what I've been doing lately is taking your brush, whatever brush you're going to be using to apply your foundation, and spritzing it a couple of times. And I use that with the foundation you apply as normal. I'm going to be buffing in the foundation today because I don't want a super heavy coverage. My eyes are already going to be very, very heavy, so I want the skin to be a little bit more natural in its finish. If you want a fuller coverage, obviously you know what to do. You just stipple instead of buff. Now this is a light to medium coverage foundation. If you wanted to use this as a full coverage foundation, you would apply a layer of the foundation and let it set for a little bit, and then go over with another layer. Make sure you go into the corners of your nose. You don't want to miss those spots right there. It looks really bad if you miss foundation there, or if you leave like a big clump of foundation just sitting there. So I'm gonna take that and a little bit onto the inner corner right here, not too high up because obviously we've put shadow there so it looks a bit darker, but I'm gonna go right here. Now I will be smoking out my lower lash line, so you don't have to worry about going up too high, but you do want to make sure that you cover up if any dark circles that you have down here. First we correct, then we conceal. So for concealer, I'm gonna be using my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is in the color Ginger. This stuff is amazing. I love it. This and the Urban Decay Naked Concealer are my two favorite concealers right now. This is a little trick for you guys. So I'm going to do one side of my face first and then show you the difference. So as you guys can see, I haven't gone up too high underneath my eye. A lot of you guys will complain about creasing of your under eyes. This is exactly how you're going to prevent that. Don't put too much product in the areas that you notice that you have lines and wrinkles, because the product is just going to end up sitting in there. That's why it's going to look more creased. So you want to go a little bit lower. I'm going to be using the same buffing brush, and this time I'm going to stipple because I want a fuller coverage. And then I'm going to go up on the side of my nose. The Real Techniques sponge or a beauty blender, and you can just push that over the top and that will lift up any of the excess product that you have. I'm happy with the coverage right here. There you go. You can actually see how much more lifted and bright the under eyes look over here compared to this side. I'm going to show you guys now what this side would look if I did not put a corrector underneath. So if I just go in with my concealer on this side and I do the same thing. So this side is without the corrector, and I'm going to do the same thing. You can see that this side of my eye looks a lot darker. There's a little bit of a grayish tint. This side still looks very much more lifted than this side does. That is basically to show you guys the difference. If you do have grayer or darker under eyes, then you definitely want to correct first so that you take away that gray tint when you apply your concealer on top. It will make a huge difference to the appearance of your under eyes and generally your whole makeup look. And then just take a touch more of the concealer and go over the top of that. So there you go, that's both eyes corrected and concealed. Now we're going to set the concealer. Now again, to help with creasing, you want to apply your concealer and then you want to immediately set it with a powder straight away. So I'm going to be using my Ben Nye banana powder, you know the drill. I'm taking that on a domed brush, and what you want to do in order to prevent the creasing, once you've applied your concealer, you want to immediately put your powder out, make sure it's ready at your hand. You want to go over and just lightly with your finger make sure that the product is not sitting in the creases, okay? As soon as you've done that, take your powder, look up, and put it in there. If you don't do the step where you're making sure that the concealer is not catching anywhere, as soon as you put the product, it'll start to lump up in that area. So you want to make sure that what you're putting it down on is smooth and ready to take the powder. So I'm going to do that. Use that same powder. Oh, this highlighter has been sitting on my forehead and my nose for about 20 minutes. Oh. I'm lying. 5 minutes. 30 seconds. Okay. Okay, same thing. On the same brush, I spritzed it again with the Ofra makeup fixer. Now for the part that I love. Contour. And you see I started off a lot thicker up here, and then I kind of taper it off. That's because I don't want this part to look like there's a black streak up here. It will look a lot more natural and softer if you start off with a thicker band and then taper it down towards the mouth. So same thing on the other side. With the contour, I'm stippling. So I'm diffusing first the outside edges of where I've laid the contour down. Have a little bit too much product on your face, don't panic, don't freak out. Just go back in with your foundation brush and you can just buff out the edges to soften the contour. Now again, don't worry if you've put too much product. I know I did on my nose, but I'll show you guys how to fix that. So don't worry. Just going up and down to diffuse the color. This little dip right here, all that does is make your lips look fuller. So that's why I do that. My Sleek Makeup Face Form Contouring Kit. This is in medium. I'm going to be going in with this color right here. So on the Real Techniques contour brush, I'm just taking this on the very tip of my brush, tapping off the excess, and then lightly going over my cream contour angle, as you can see. So I'm going to be using the highest point right here, and just taking a little bit of the powder on the very edge of it, tapping off most of it, and then lightly just going over the cream contour right there to set it. So now I'm going to move back to the eyes, and I'm going to finish off underneath my eyes with my Urban Decay pencil. And first I'm going to line the waterline. Don't worry again about it getting underneath. Actually, you do want to take it underneath just a little bit. Like I said, you have to work a little bit quickly with this eyeliner because it will set. Start to diffuse that out. Just smudge. Again, don't worry if it's neat or messy or anything at all like that, because we're going to be going over it with shadows. And we will be smoking out the lower lash line. So that's the black. I'm going to take the same black eyeshadow from earlier. There's something in my eye. Blah, 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 blah. Which brush? Which brush? So I'm going to take the same black eyeshadow from earlier on a very small brush. This is again a shader brush, and I'm just going to go over that pencil that we put down. I'm going to keep the black very close to the lash line. I don't want it to go down too far. That's my personal preference when I'm doing a smoky eye, particularly on myself. So once I've done the black, I'm gonna go in with the same Film Noir shade from MAC. And I'm gonna take that on a slightly fluffier brush because we want to diffuse that black eyeshadow. I've taken it on the very, very tip of the brush. And I'm just going to diffuse out that black eyeshadow. First, I'm just applying the shade underneath the black and using the same E25 from earlier. I'm not adding any extra shadow on it. I'm going to just diffuse those two colors together. With a smoky eye, it's totally your preference of how far down you want to go. I personally don't think it looks very good on me. It looks beautiful on other people, but on me, I don't like to take it down too far. This is the most that I will go. Did you guys see that Snapchat story the other day about the woman who sneezed and yanked out most of her eyelashes? Because she was curling her eyelashes and she sneezed, and I guess she pulled and she left an entire gap right there in the center of her lashes. It was horrible. Make sure if you feel a sneeze coming, you take the eyelashes away from your eye. Just be careful, because that sounded very painful. She said she felt like she ripped her eyelid off, or in half, something crazy like that. I'm gonna put a light coat of mascara because I'm gonna be going on with false lashes. I'm not gonna go back in with the same eyeliner pencil and just go right on my lash line at the top, right here. I'm just gonna show these to you. These are the lashes that I'm using. I'm sorry, I don't know what the brand is. Anything full and flirty will work. You just want to use some intense lashes. I'm using the House of Lashes clear glue as well. So to put the lashes on, you want to be looking down. You want to wait for the lash glue to get a little bit tacky, so for about 20 seconds before you place it on your eye. Otherwise you're going to have a very sticky mess. Then you want to take the outside corner and place that down. And once I'm done, I just, using my finger, will go over the band and make sure it's stuck all the way down. And then using my tweezers, just lift up and curl and join my lashes with the false lashes. Just lightly lift them up so that you have a nice flare. It just makes it, I think, a lot more effective and sultry, as a smoky eye should be. Okay, for highlighter today, I'm going to be using my MAC Soft and Gentle. I'm going to show you guys the difference in intensity of applying this highlighter. So I'm just going to be using a regular old fan brush, and this is completely dry. Brush to product to face. I'm going to show you how it looks, and then I'm going to show you how to make it more intense. So I'm just brushing this on there, and I'm going to put it right here. Okay, one time. If you want it to be more intense, which I do, this guy or any makeup fixing spray, one time on your brush is more than enough. Into the highlighter and onto the cheek. Right there. You can see the difference in intensity, I hope, between that one and that one. It's the same product, but you're getting a lot more bang for your buck, I guess, if you're spraying it with a fixer. So it's just a little trick for you guys. I'm taking the same, now I'm not spraying it again, I'm going to use whatever's left on the brush to go on just above my brows and down my nose, right there, and a little bit onto my Cupid's bow. And that's my highlighter done. Take the same Sonia Kashuk pencil brush. I'm going to wipe off most of that Film Noir shade onto the back of my wrist right here. Just clean it up a little bit because I'm being lazy. And I'm going to spritz it one time, go into that highlighter, and I'm going to use that to highlight my inner corners. So that's my highlight right there. So for blush, I'm going to be using Raisin from MAC. Again, if you ever worry about putting on too much blush, go back in with your foundation brush and just diffuse the corners to make it a little bit softer. I'm going to be using MAC's Dervish lip liner and Taupe lipstick. Those are two colors right there. So I'm just going to line my lips first. And then I'm going to go over with Taupe. Now that the look is done, you can always go in and set your whole face using this. So I'm just going to give myself a light spritz. And let that dry. So that's the finished look, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was a pretty straightforward and easy smoky eye for you guys to try. If you have trouble doing a smoky eye, let me know if you tried it out. Let me know what you thought of the whole look in general. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment and let me know if there's any videos that you want me to do or anything at all that you want to share with me. Please feel free.